was a Gadol. And he was brought in special for this purpose, to be the guest speaker at the Malka Badem, which was the key event. Friday night, some people came back to me and told me, you know what they're saying over there? That a good is started here of Rechokin. It bothered me. I have a very short fuse for revisionism. But I figured, after the Kiddush Shabbos afternoon, another bunch of guys come back to me and tell me, you know what they're talking about? How they started and what the Gedul is, how they're saving the world with Erev, and that they are the first ones to have done it. I couldn't take it anymore. It was enough. I said, I'm going to speak to this Gadol. Everybody laughed. He's not going to want to see me. The house where he was staying is a notorious house of anti-Chassidim, and they probably wouldn't want to let me into the house. I figured, I will take a crack at it. Motzei Shabbos, I made a calculation that on Motzei Shabbos I also look like a Gadol. I also wear kachote. I also have a gray beard. I also wear a big hat, so I'm a Gadol as much as the other guys. So I decided if this is the case, it's time to have a heart-to-heart talk, Gadol to Gadol. So I called the host of this particular family, of this particular Gadol, and I say, I want to speak to Rabbi so-and-so. There was a dead silence on the other side of the line. I wasn't sure whether they got a heart attack or not because they probably didn't expect me to call. After a few seconds, I guess they revived themselves. They come back on the line. They said, do you want to speak to him in person or on the telephone? And I said, no, in person, for sure. So hold on a minute. They'll go ask him. And they came back and said the following. That the Gadol said he will meet with me, but only for 20 minutes because in 20 minutes he has to deliver his key speech. I said, no problem. I'm only a few blocks away. I drove up to the Gadol, to the host of the Gadol. I walk into the house. I have to understand, Chabad Hagedolim is not a small thing. The house was packed. It was swamped with people that were giving Chabad to the Gadol. I walked over to the Gadol and I introduced myself and I said, can you please ask everybody to leave? So they started right away screaming, what do you mean? We have to take him in 15 minutes. It's a kitchen. We can't go out of here. What do you mean? I said to him again, please can you ask them to leave? It was working. He asked them all to leave. But they said, well, how are you going to get to the place? I said, I also have a car. I can deliver him to the place. He told them to leave. They all left. I was left in the house with him alone. And I told him that I came to Cincinnati 30 years earlier. And before I came to Cincinnati, I had asked the Rebbe if there's anything special that I should know. And the Rebbe told me, as I said, Yodua, it is known that when the Tzemach Tzedek expelled the Lilienthal from Russia, he came to the United States, went to Cincinnati, and from there developed the Reform movement. And just as a sidebar, his big portrait is right in the atrium of their big center in Cincinnati. So the Rebbe said to me, the grandson of the Tzemach Tzedek, speaking about himself, wants to conclude and finish the work with the grandchildren of Lilienthal. Those are the words the Rebbe told me. So I told this Gadol, I know clearly what I have to do in Cincinnati. And I want to tell you that till your people came here with the kollels and all these big, L'Shem Shamayim stuff, there was no hatred here in town. So the people believed in Chabad, didn't believe in Chabad, that's not the issue, but nobody hated Chabad. When your guys came along, horrendous hatred set into the community. And tonight, I say, more so than any time before, what got me is in addition to the hatred that they brought in and they imported into the community, they have the audacity to revive history. If you are their guest speaker tonight, and you are their godel, and they look up to you, it is your responsibility to clear this up tonight. And I expect you to do so. When we finished, I took him into the car. We drove the few minutes that it took to get to the location. I need not tell you that it wasn't a 20-minute discussion. It was about an hour and a half discussion. All his big Talmidim were going nuts, waiting what happened to him. Maybe I killed him on the road somewhere, who knows? They're waiting out there eagerly for his arrival. And when I saw the hole in the parking lot, this whole crowd standing out there in the street, I said to him, listen, as we get closer, please do me a favor. Don't open the door. I want to open it for you for Chabad Shaliach. And he, as a very humble individual, says, and I'm arguing with him that I'll open it. He says, he'll open it. And we had this one argument for the night, who's going to open the door. Thank God one of the Talmidim opened the door, so we didn't have a problem. And he went out. I just want to point that my biggest chutzpah was, I dropped him off and I left. I didn't even go in. And this is a community-wide, open to the public event. I do want to happily report to you that the next morning I was brought a tape. And he got up and he said that it says in Sforim that if a hand does not feel the pain of the head or the leg or the toe, if one limb, in other words, does not feel the pain of another, then it's a sick body. If we cannot feel the pain of Acheinu HaLubavitchers, when we try to belittle them, when we try to deny things, when we try to disseminate hatred to them, then we are all very sick. And he said, you have to remember that they were the first ones out on the battlefield, and until today, they are in every Pina Nidachas in the world, every far-flung community in the world where we are not. And we have to respect that. I need not tell you, they never invited him again. But the bottom line is, if we could remember that we are going the koiche shel oisei doke, we can turn the world over. Gedolim, nishkin gedolim, we can turn this world over. And if we would only face the reality to remember that we are the Rebbe's shluchim, Eved Avraham, and it's not our own koiches, we can show profound miracles outside. Many of you definitely heard, I just now told it on the radio over here in town last Thursday night, about my traveling to England. It just comes to mind because I just came back from there again. Two years ago, I traveled to England without a passport. I went and I came without a passport because I said that I'm a shlichus of the Rebbe. And the Rebbe said in the early 50s that if you get into a dilemma, I'm not going to go through the whole story, just say that you're going in my shlichus. And it's going to work. And let me tell you, it's worked. I went to England and back to the United States, round trip, without a paper in my hand, other than a little piece of paper that the airline gave me after a whole who knows what went on. And I'm not going to go into the story now. I still have it to show it to you. The koyach of the Rebbe is phenomenal. I just want to leave you with a story. There was once a trainee that was training in a big company, in a big corporation, for an executive position. And he was going through his training process. Part of the training is leadership. He has to show, he has to exert his power, he has to exert his leadership. So one day, in the process of exerting his leadership, he picked up the telephone, dialed one of the extensions. He thought he